Did you see the new Batman movie?
I did, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
Really?
really fun. Yeah, really fun. It's funny when you're in the solar industry, you're always thinking about solar, right?
Right.
There's no way they could get solar in Gotham City. It's too dark and it's too rainy. But it was a great movie, nonetheless.
I'll find a way.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Tops Talk. I'm Miles Prim. Joining me today is Robbie Upal, who is the business director here at Solar Tops. Robbie, thanks so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Today, we're going to be discussing why choose a local solar installation company.
Sure.
And right off the bat, just going right into it, for a lot of our customers, obviously the biggest thing is its price.
Right.
Price is something they focus on. National companies, larger installation companies tend to have lower prices. So how would somebody like Solar Tops kind of compare against that? Because I'm not saying we have higher prices, but there's a little bit of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So how would Solar Tops compare in regards to, or any local company rather?
Mm-hmm.
How would a local company compete in that market?
Sure. I think it's a really interesting observation, and the fact of the matter actually is that national companies are actually slightly more expensive. So it would make sense, right? I mean, I think most people think that, it's a national company, a larger brand. They obviously are dealing in tremendous volume, so they must be able to, deliver products at a lower price point. Well, the fact of the matter is that is not the case at all. I think that they did a study at the NREL, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and they found that on average, local companies were about 10% lower in price, which was something that, I knew to be true because we obviously, go head to head with the, big name companies, all the time.
Right.
And I find that our prices are always really, really competitive. And I started looking a little bit more into it. And, in this industry in which you are maintaining inventory, in which you have, costs at the local level, what we find is that the local companies are actually able to be a little bit more efficient with their practices and just the overall operation. And I think that those efficiencies have allowed, local companies, especially our company, Solar Tops, it's really allowed us to save money, without really having to do anything extra. I think it's just because we're operating at the local level. We understand the marketplace. We're really able to deliver results without, having to increase our prices.
Oh, that's really good because you're talking about, the difference between a national level and the local level. Obviously, that was kind of the question that was asked before. But in regards to products, a lot of name brands go with their name brand products.
Sure.
So what's the difference between a product that a national installer would use versus a local installation company?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So what's important to understand is that a lot of your larger national companies, they're either going to be, and this is very few of them are actually manufacturing their own product. Really what they end up doing is they end up partnering with another company, and then they'll just label that product with their name. So they'll come out and say, hey, this is my, big box company panel that we make, which is, not the case.
Sure.
But what ends up happening is because these larger companies are dealing in volume and they're trying to figure out how to compete in these local marketplaces, they end up actually having a rather limited range of products that they can offer, whereas a company like ourselves, we are able to deliver products that are best suited for our clientele here within Arizona. Products that are best suited for the Arizona climate, and in doing so, we have the freedom and the luxury, if you will, to choose a myriad of products, different types of panels, different types of inverters, different types of storage options that are going to best meet the needs of the customer. So once again, I think a lot of our customers initially think that, a company like Solar Tops would probably only offer one or two products, and that's not the case. We actually have a wide range of products that are tried and tested, here within our facility. But at the end of the day, when we provide an offering to the customer, it's one in which that we know it's going to meet their needs. And I don't think that that's something that a national company can provide, because they just have to have a limited offering just as a result of their operation.
No, and that makes sense. And in regards to that operation, logistically speaking, national installers have larger staff.
Yeah,
right? We are local company, local business. Only got a couple of really warm, friendly people here.
We have more than a couple, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Right. And so you would think that they're just able to install in waves. They just have legions of people going out to do installations, therefore increasing how many they're doing. How could a local installation company keep up with the installation rate of, say, a national installer?
Sure. So, I mean, of course, a national installer has to have a lot more people, because they're servicing, so many different marketplaces, and they're doing a lot of different work along those lines. But what's important to understand, at least for a company like ourselves, is that we pay a lot of attention to the quality of our work, the quality of our products, the quality of our workmanship, things along these lines. And by doing so, what we found is that it's not imperative that we have the largest crews out there, because once our job is done, it's done right. There's no need for us to be going back out to a home 3, 4, 5 times. What we end up finding with these larger national companies is they end up having to subcontract a lot of their work. And by that, what I mean is that they'll hire third-party, installers or electricians or roofers, whoever it may be, to go and work on a system. And even though that third party may be very qualified, there's nothing to say that on that particular day, maybe that install crew didn't necessarily do things right. And so what you end up finding is that these larger national companies need to have a larger workforce, because they end up having to correct a lot of the mistakes that might be happening from these subcontractor companies. And we actually received quite a few phone calls from these larger national companies to go and repair systems that were, for all intents and purposes, incorrectly installed. And, most of the time we have to actually decline those requests, because we are, obviously, rather busy dealing with our customers and our clientele. So what we find is that it's a bit of a balancing act between quality versus quantity. And I think that here, at Solar Tops, with our focus on, quality through and through the process, that we found that you really don't need a really large workforce. You just really need a good workforce. People that enjoy what they do, they know what they're doing, they're experts in their own field, and when they get out there, that hey, they're going to get it done and they're going to do it right. I think the biggest thing we focus on is training. We have our own engineers, we have our own installers, we have our own service crews as we need them, because service is a natural part of any sort of construction type of business. Sure. But really, they're just so good at what they do that we find that we don't have to keep rolling our trucks again and again to go to their homes to fix whatever the issue might be. So I think that's sort of where we start seeing the sort of difference between quality versus quantity in that sense.
That's actually a really good point that you bring up. You talk about quality versus quantity, and obviously service is just a main part of what we do here at Solar Tops. How involved is a local company in regards to the installation of a system? Are you able to get in contact with Solar Tops very frequently?
Yes, you are. I think that, and once again, I can't speak for every single local company out there. So I'll speak based on our experience. But, Solar Tops has been serving Arizona since 2009. So we've seen, all of the changes that have happened, within this industry, in our state. But, the most important thing for us is that our customers should be able at at their own convenience, which is why they can email us, they can go to our website, they can fill out a form, they can call our office, they can text our office. We've really opened up so many different channels so that any customer that needs to get a hold of us can get a hold of us the way they need. What we find that sort of works is that if you call the office and let's say no one's here, it's going to go ring to the next supervisor. It'll go onto a cell phone. If for some reason he's unable to answer, it'll go to the next individual. And eventually, if you wait long enough, you're going to get a hold of me. That's just the whole difference, though. We are an Arizona company that is proudly serving Arizonans. By doing so, we want to make sure that we are there whenever they need us. And, whether it's, a phone call, at 8 p.m., in the evening or a phone call over the weekend, we want our customers to know that we are essentially their neighbor, right. And we are going to make ourselves, as available as we possibly can be in order to service them and whatever their needs may be at that time. As much as possible, as our company grows and as we transition, I am very firm in the belief that we will always remain local. Even if we begin our expansion into other states, like I really want to do something where we really learn from the community, that we really become members of the community. It's not just installing, in this neighborhood and that neighborhood, but it's about employing the individuals, within those neighborhoods. It's about, it's about growing with the community, after having done this now for so many years. I'll be honest with you. The real joy that I get out of this is when I get phone calls from customers, not because they're angry or they're upset, but because they're extremely happy with how well their system is performing and how well our teams have performed. I mean, of course, if there's a complaint, it's going to hit my desk, and we have a very sort of transparent, sort of open door policy. I think that's just the sort of difference with that sort of local touch. It's that you don't have to go through some sort of guessing game or, that sort of game like telephone where it goes from one office to the next. Like, no, here within, a few, short calls, you're going to be talking to not just, the, head of a department, but very easily to one of the heads of the company,
Right.
And that's just a sort of difference that, we very much pride ourselves on.
So kind of in conclusion, it kind of looks like what you're saying is really goes hand in hand with everything that we've been saying, with our other Top Stock episodes. A local installer gives you a more personalized experience, and because of that, maybe a more personalized price. Mm-hmm. And of course, you get a more personalized system, which again would influence your savings. Mm-hmm. Robbie, we really appreciate your time. Really appreciate your willingness to come meet with us today.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. And, if it's good with you, I think maybe we should, do another episode in which we maybe talk about, how to evaluate, a company, because not all national companies are the same. Not all local companies are the same. But I'm definitely happy to sort of come back and, continue the conversation with you.
Yeah, anything to have you back on. We appreciate it.
All right, buddy. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Well, that concludes another Top Stock episode. We appreciate Robbie Upal joining us today. If you want to learn more or if you're interested, visit our website and be sure to like and subscribe for more content for Top Stock.